Good evening, this is Kavi Priya, Assistant Professor EC Department. I am going to discuss about the topic Amendments in Indian Constitution. So there are totally 106 amendments acts as of September 2023 that are made in the Indian Constitution over time. All these amendments has brought significant changes in the course of Indian polity. First Amendment 1951 empowered the state to create the special provision for the advancement of socially and economically backward classes. It ensured the protection of laws related to the acquisition of estates and similar matters. It introduced a ninth schedule to shield land reform laws and other included legislation from judicial review. Added Articles 31A and 31B after Article 31. It imposed three additional grounds for restricting the freedom of speech and expression, public order, friendly relation with the foreign states, and incitement to an offence. It also rendered these restrictions reasonable and therefore subject to judicial scrutiny. Clarify that state trading or nationalization of any trade or business by the state cannot be deemed invalid on the grounds of infringing the right to trade or business. Next is the 7th Amendment 1956. Second and 7th schedules were amended to implement significant changes. The classification of states into four categories, Part A, Part B, C and D was abolished and states were reorganized into 14 states and 6 union territories. The jurisdiction of high courts was extended to include the union territories. The provisions were made for the establishment of common high court to serve two or more states. Guidelines were introduced for the appointment of additional and acting judges in the High Court. 42nd Amendment 1976, it comprised 59 clauses and introduced numerous changes, earning it the title of mini constitution. It incorporated three new terms to the preamble. They are socialist, secular and integrity. Introduced fundamental duties under the new Part 4A. Mandated that the President must act in accordance with the advice of the Cabinet. Declared constitutional amendments beyond the scope of judicial review. 44th Amendment 1978 restored the original tenure of Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies to 5 years, reinstated the provisions regarding the quorum in parliament and state legislators, removed reference to British out of commons in sections related to parliamentary privileges, provided constitutional protection for publishing the two reports of proceedings in the parliament and state legislators in newspaper, empowered the president to return the cabinet advice for reconsideration, and although reconsidered advice is binding on the president, and they remove the provision that made the satisfaction of president, governor and administrators final in issue of in ordinance. 52nd Amendment 1985 provided for disqualification of members of parliament and state legislators on ground of defection and added a new 10th schedule containing the details in this regard. And 61st Amendment 1988 reduced the voting age from 21 years to 18 years for Lok Sabha and State Legislative Assembly election. 73rd and 74th Amendment, 73rd Amendment Act, Panchayat Raj institution was constitutionalized through his amendment. This act has added a new part 9 to the Constitution of India and consists of provision from Articles 243 to 243O. In addition, the act also added a new 11th schedule to the Constitution and contains 29 functional items of the Panchayat. 74th Amendment Act. Urban local governments were constitutionalized through the 74th Amendment Act during the regime of P.V. Narasimha Rao government in the year 1992. It came into force on 1st June 1993. It added Part 9A and consists of provisions from the Article 243P to 243EZZ. In addition, the Act also added 12th schedule to the Constitution. It contains 8 functional items of the municipalities. 86th Amendment in the year 2002 made elementary education in the fundamental rights under the Article 21A, changed the subject matter of Article 45 in Directive Principles, added a new function duty under the Article 51A. 101 Amendment 2016, it allows both the centre and state to levy Goods and Service Tax. Before 2006 Amendment, taxation powers were divided between the centre and the state. 103 Amendment, for the first time in independent India, it introduced a reservation for economically weaker sections. According to this article, a 10% reservation for economically weak sector was provided in the public employment. 104 Amendment 2020, 104 Constitution Amendment enacted by Parliament in 2020 discontinued the reservation seats for Anglo community in the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies, while extending the reservation for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes for an additional 10 years. So that's all about the constitutional amendments, and we have seen about the 1st, 7th, 42nd, 44th, 52 amendment, 61st, 73rd and 74th amendments, and 70 and 86, 101, 103, 104 amendments. Thank you.